The Sports Drive, well, no sports to talk about. March Madness canceled, every major sport, so maybe you get to spend some more time around your family. Oh, what? Not supposed to touch anybody? Well, just go home and watch Price is Right. But if you are older, you have a better chance of getting it. Right, Mike Gundy? Oh, 40? You should be all right. And he won't be broadcasting sports, but one guy that feels the same way we all do with no sports, probably Joe Buck.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Sports Drive 5 to 7 with no sports.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL Coach K. Stevenson here on this Friday afternoon. Well, Coach, when we look at it, everything, it's been such a almost whirlwind in sports this week. It seems like just about everything has been shut down. We still have NASCAR. PGA Tour announced this morning that they will cancel their next 3 events, and the Masters is in the, they're not sure what's going to go on. Coach, I think right now, things can change day by day. This is something that we have to remind ourselves. For those people out there that, you hear always, well, sports is not a part of society. This is tremendous. I mean, the sports family that we have here. And listen, if you're listening to ESPN Pensacola right now, you're a tremendous sports fan. We appreciate you guys joining us. But you know what we're going through, or you understand. We're all going through this together. Coach, I say this, I believe I asked you this yesterday, but have you ever seen anything like this in sports?
No, I haven't, and nor has anyone else that I'm aware of. I don't think even the plague crisis of 1918 didn't have quite the effect. But at any rate, listen, I think that what people are doing is the right thing. What comes first is the safety and security of the people of this country. And that is first and foremost the number one obligation of any elected politician in this country, certainly from the president down through the Senate, the Congress, and whatever. That comes first. And if this is a method to flatten the curve out, as they say, and stop the spread, at least contain it, then that's what we should do. Now, I do have, I would not be surprised if after a month or so, you might see something like the Masters being played with no audience, no spectators. Actually, there's no real contact there. It's a game that could be played without much chance of spreading anything. And they said, well, what about the scorekeepers and other? But you can get that done. You know, you can get that handled without having 70-year-old people out there keeping score. So anyway, just a thought that it might be. And in the meantime, we've got an awful lot of things going on. I can assure you the draft is going to go on. It may go on electronically, which I think it should. You know, you talk about one of the biggest, people don't realize this, but one of the largest gathering spots for people would be the attraction of the NFL draft being held in Las Vegas, the attraction of Vegas. They're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that would go to Vegas for this particular thing. That, you know, so I could see where they would almost have to do that electronically and avoid those crowds.
You know, Coach, I go back to this. It seems like just a few days ago we were talking about, I remember I was one person, and the more you learn about this, the more you understand. You know, as a sports fan, you make judge decisions here so quickly. We are diehard for sports, and a lot of people didn't realize how much they love sports until all this kind of came to a halt here. But even when the NCAA was talking about playing March Madness without fans, I was like, it's March Madness without fans. You know, it's crazy because you think of how you've grown up watching these things, watching the spectators be there, that home field advantage. You've seen that little guy come back and win. You've seen it in football over and over again. How many times has home field advantage helped teams out in the NFL, whatever it may be. And this is something so much more than sports. It's something that we have to worry about us as a nation. Look, China has repaired a lot of what's happened. They were devastated a lot worse than we were. We don't want it to get to that point. But for a lot of things, they've gotten their baseball leagues back in order. They're starting their baseball leagues over there and things like that. I think, Coach, as much as I hate this and hate to see it, that you're right. This is the right thing to do. We shut down. Listen, for some things it could be a couple weeks because like the golf. You know, golf is going to shut down, it seems like, a month now. With the Masters coming up, I'm sure they'll play it. But right now we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, how this is going to spread. All we can do as fans, sports fans, and just members of the general public here, wash your hands. Take care of yourself. If you feel like you're sick, don't go out in public. Quarantine yourself. Quarantine is a word that, we've seen it thrown around in a bad sense.
Yeah, just it's a common sense approach.
Right.
And my goodness, stay off planes and cruises, things like that.
That seems to be
that would
a deciding factor.
That would be something I wouldn't do anyway. I wouldn't go on a cruise anyway.
No, I haven't, and I won't, and now I really won't. But, Coach, I do want to talk about the NFL draft. It's one thing that was brought up because the NFL, they've made statements of bringing a lot of these teams have brought their coaches and recruiting staff back in, which obvious at this point. The NFL draft so far is scheduled for April 23rd to 25th in Las Vegas, like you said. No changes have been made, but plans are being made in case of needing to postpone the draft. Coach, when you hear postpone, look, this was supposed to be in front of the Bellagio fountains. This was going to be like you talked about. Las Vegas, it's beautiful until you're, for me personally, you get there and it's a little rougher than what you see in the pictures. It's with all the people being there. And the draft selections were supposed to be brought on stage by boat. Everything was going to be awesome. We saw this last year in Nashville, what it did for downtown, how many people are there. Remember, these are people on top of everybody. It's tough because you have a little less than a month and a half here. But, Coach, you kind of made a point on it. You think it's going to possibly be electronically. Is there –
Well, stop and think about it now. Number one, the common sense thing of putting hundreds of thousands of people in harm's way for an NFL draft. The NFL is not going to sustain that bad pub. So, yes, if they withdrew and just did it. In fact, what they should do is do it out of New York, and each team stay in their own building, and just do, which is the way it used to be. That's the way it used to be done, and just do it by maybe have one representative there if they want to utilize that. I'm sure the TVs will still get quite a bit of input out of it. I think it's humiliating to see some of these interviews they have during the draft anyway. But if they can handle this whole thing electronically. And I really believe that is a way to go. I don't know how you could delay it much longer than it is scheduled for. And let me tell you why. Just logistically, they've got to get these kids some way, somehow. They're going to have to get them into their teams at some point. Now, if you wait until later, you're on top of the season. You're on top of running mini camps into camps and regular season. And I'm certain they're going to have at least 17 games this year. So I just don't know how you could run it all that much together and logistically get that handled. That's tough. Coaches in particular, listen, if they didn't give coaches a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before training camp to just completely get away from everything and revitalize themselves, because they're entering into six months or so or more of most of the time less than an average of 4 hours sleep a night, sometimes 3 hours a night, two and a half, and it's sleep deprived. It is family deprived, and these are things you have to get ready for mentally. There are a lot of things like that people don't think about. That you almost have to have that period where people can revamp, refuel, think about what's coming up, get prepared for it, and say, all right, it's like jumping into a cold ice lake. All right, let's go, and then you go do it.
Well, Coach, I've had listeners and friends of mine ask. They've heard you say that before about the long days that you've had, when coaching, and they've heard that being said before from other people. But the question that they always ask me is, well, Coach, when you talk about this, how do you do this? How do you go those periods of time? Because you understand an NFL franchise, what it means. It's a little bit different than college. Not to say college coaches don't go through things that are similar to that, but going through those long hours like that, Coach, how do you survive and be able to keep your wits about you throughout the season?
Well, you get accustomed to it. That's for my sleeping habits now, even right now, are so messed up it's unbelievable. But your body just gets attuned to it, and I'm not saying it's good for you now. I know it's not, but it's just one of those things you can get. Like they train the Rangers and all
Navy SEALs,
Navy SEALs, the special units. They train them to sustain pretty much anything, and you can do that. Now, I don't suggest that you can do it certainly into your late 70s, into your 70s and 80s.
Right.
But at a certain point, you reach the end of the line there. Plus the fact that you realize that you've got to have some time to spend with your family, because you realize there's mortality is involved, and people are moving out, moving on, and so on. So there are a lot of things that happen there that would change you. But anyway, it's just part of it's part of the game. And people say, well, why is it necessary? Well, I could give you some examples. I won't put their name out there, but I could give you some examples of some guys that weren't willing to spend the time, that did pretty well in college football but couldn't do it in the pros, because they're going to outcoach you. They're going to beat you on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday night while you're home enjoying dinner or doing whatever you want to do. They're kicking your butt, and you better get ready for it. So anyway, long story short, I won't beat that in the ground.
Well, no, I think it's interesting just because, Coach, and I've had people ask me about that is, well, how in the world do you survive like that? We have people that work 12 or 16-hour days sometimes, and maybe that's your job. And if you're listening to this, look, I've been there. I just came from a job that you didn't know if you were hoping you were working at 12, but more often than not, you were going to work a 16, and it was just a part of it. But to do what you guys do, when you talk about NFL coaching and the pressure that's on you, it's tremendous because, Coach, it's one of these things that even if you go out there and you have a decent season, you could lose your job. It's just a matter of time. It's a day-by-day process, and that's why I think it's good to hear how, you don't necessarily, there's a certain way to cope with it. You just become accustomed to it almost.
Well, you do, and that's part of the deal is the pressure. And I used to tell coaches, assistant coaches, when they'd come in for an interview or whatever, or even if I had them on the staff, and I would hear, I had one guy in particular that felt that he was being taken advantage of because of the hours he had to spend. The job that he had come from before was a little less strenuous. They didn't put in the time, all the time that we put in and whatever. He was a good coach, but they weren't necessarily all that successful anyway. Anyway, I called him in one day and I said, "Look, I'll tell you what, let's do this. I understand that you're a little upset about the times and the hours we work and whatever." "Oh, no," he says, "no, I'm not." I said, "Well, this is what I've heard." I said, "Let's get in the car and go up to the post office in Orchard Park. It's only about 1.5 miles, 2 miles up the road. And let's get you an application for postal work. You get all the holidays. They can't fire you. It takes an act of Congress to fire you. You get off. You go to work at a certain time. You get off at a certain time. You get weekends. It's a wonderful job. You get everything paid for. So let's get you. You're going to be much more satisfied being a postal delivery guy than you would be a football coach here with the Buffalo Bills." Well, that ended the deal on that. But anyway, it's I don't want to overdo it, but it's just part of the way you have to handle yourself, and you have to get accustomed to it.
Well, Coach, talking about the draft coming up as well as so many other things, with the cancellations and things like that, it's something that we're going to have to become accustomed to for a little while. Now, this is not the end-all, be-all. Everything is going to be okay. Look, as a nation, we've come through many worse things, and we seem to have stuff like this that happens every once in a while. But nonetheless, Coach, Tua's pro day is set for April 9th and 10th, and I bring up Tua because it's probably the most prominent pro day. Of course, Oklahoma held their pro day, I believe it was yesterday. Clemson held theirs as well. So they got their stuff in there. And the reason I bring this up is because NFL franchises bringing their recruiters back in. When you look at a pro day set for April 9th and 10th, we don't assume that they're going to let them go out and things like that yet. Now, what I'm asking is, how does this affect NFL prospects who, Coach, they've been busting it for 8 to 10 weeks. And remember, a lot of these guys didn't get the invite to the NFL Combine. They didn't get a chance to show their stuff. This is where the secret, almost the diamonds in the rough we find, that are at these pro days, they get an opportunity. And these guys aren't the guys that most likely are going to be drafted during the NFL draft. A lot of these guys will sign as free agents and things like this. Coach, how does this affect those guys right now?
Well, that's a great question, and I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle it, other than the fact that if they do have them, and people are assigned scouts and coaches, you'll find a lot of scouts and coaches driving their cars there, and then rather than flying. So that I don't know. I can't answer that question. It's a shame because the only thing they can tell them is we'll postpone it. They can't say we're going to cancel it. We'll postpone it, and that is probably, I would guess that's going to be the case. They'll just move it out as far as they can.
Could you do something like that by video?
You could.
Would it, as a coach, would it?
The problem is you almost want to be there to get the reaction and have that personal touch with them, especially coaches. See, coaches would get to have a short interview with them. Scouts maybe, but coaches for sure. So you wouldn't want to miss that because, as I've said, especially with the quarterback position, the intangibles are so important, and that would that would certainly help make a decision.
Well, listen, Coach, we're up against a break right here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the XFL making their announcement, as well as Gil Brandt coming out with 3 free agents who should stay and who should go. When we talk about the Tom Brady tracker, we'll have all the news for you. Listen to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
Attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Holiday traditions are alive and well inside every Home Depot. And right now, outside as well, with a lot full of fresh-cut Christmas trees of every size and shape. Come walk the lot, pick one out, and save. Or, if you can't make it outside, order online and we'll deliver one right to your door for free. Fresh-cut Christmas trees, in-store, or with free online delivery, only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Selection and prices vary by store. See store for details.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Find it at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
His football career started as a quarterback at Pensacola High. It culminated as the coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, Coach K. Stevenson talks football every day at noon on Talk Football with Coach K.
Kareem Hunt got pulled over last week for speeding.
This guy's been in trouble over and over and over again. Now, if they get him out of this, he will get in trouble again.
Noon to 1, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Maybe a little gloomy when you look at all the sports and things being canceled right now. Well, keep your heads up, and we're going to be in here talking some football with you every day as we usually are. Coach, I want to talk about one thing. Of course, one of the latest to come out, the XFL announced that they will cancel the remainder of their 2020 regular season. We were wondering if this was going to happen or not. With everything going on, it almost seemed inevitable. This was the XFL's time to shine, though. It's one of those things. We knew they were going to play without fans, but they would be the only thing on. I can't imagine the viewership and everything that would happen, but, all for naught. On some notes with that, all the players will be paid their base pay and benefits for the full season. and XFL ticket holders will be issued refunds. And the XFL came out in their statement as well and said they are committed to play a full season in 2021 and future years. And the XFL players, Coach, are now free to sign with an NFL team with the season ending. That brings up my question. So we may have only got half the season of the XFL. First things first, it was amazing. It was awesome to see the XFL off and running. I mean, this was going to be fun. When you talk about the playoffs, we're going to be coming up here in a little over a month. It was going to be exciting. It's because there were teams that showed up that we had no idea. And this whole thing with the XFL, we had no idea. The last time we had it, it was a publicity stunt almost. Yep. And now with Commissioner Oliver Luck doing what he did, it was amazing to go out there and watch some of these guys. And remember, Oliver, I think he made the statement of the year when he said, we are not competing with the NFL. We want to be a complement to the NFL.
We're here to complement, yeah.
And that's what they are.
Yeah, sure, they complement them. There's no doubt about that.
Coach, when you look at this, on that note, being a complement to the NFL, them allowing now guys that the season is over to sign with the NFL, well, that's a part of this. This is a part, it's almost like that minor league system we see in other sports, the G League and NBA and minor leagues in baseball and hockey and everything. Coach, when I ask you this, guys like P.J. Walker, these are guys that, remember, Andrew Luck is the reason he was there, as he told his father, Oliver, you need to check this guy out. Well, thank goodness he did. Guys like Jordan Ta'amu, the young man from Ole Miss, didn't really get his shot necessarily. This was almost an opportunity for these guys to get some reps. We even saw guys like Josh Johnson, who's been on 13 different NFL franchises. 13 different NFL franchises. Quite the journeyman, go out there and just shine, showing that he can play. And he can lead teams. That's another thing with this. Coach, when you look at this, did these guys do enough to be able to get signed by an NFL franchise? And not just them in general, but were there some players out there that are definitely going to, I know you can't say definitely going to be signed, but definitely going to be getting some looks?
No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind about it. You're going to have some defensive players that are certainly going to be signed for, if nothing else, for depth and for special teams. You got, and look at there are probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 receivers that could very easily be signed by NFL teams. And what about depth for a team like Green Bay and New England to swoop up a couple of these kids that have had outstanding years so far? And now the quarterbacks, I think the kid from Houston, I agree. Somebody will probably pick him up. Josh Johnson has been around too long. I mean, I don't. There's so much history on him that it would be difficult to think that anybody would pick him up. But maybe the kid from Ole Miss might have a chance. But to answer your question, there are going to be some people picked up. Now, the other thing that we need to comment on is the XFL is doing the right thing. They could not continue to play with everybody else canceling the way they have. That would stand out like a sore thumb. Okay, it'd be terrible, terrible publicity. Plus, look what they're doing. They're going to pay these kids. They're going to pay them anyway. They've just struck a gold mine for publicity and for attracting some other kids in the future. I tell you, that is quite a thing. Plus, they are going to refund all of the money, which is they should do. But anyway, I think it's certainly magnanimous on their part, and I think it's a huge political and publicity plus. So give them kudos. My gosh, that's an outstanding way to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's awesome. And listen, we're seeing owners and other people around that, whether it's an NBA franchise or whatever it may be, that, I know we talk football here, but Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers donating $100,000 to the arena workers, because this affects more than just, we complain as sports fans watching sports, but this affects so many, the little people we don't even realize when you go to stadiums or you go to arenas or whatever you do, the people that are working on the inside that aren't making these millions of dollars like these guys we see on the court. Oh. It's so awesome to see stuff like that. I'm sure we'll see more. But, Coach, I want to talk about, I know Gil Brandt is a friend of yours. Gil Brandt
We're going to have Gil on Hill's coming on. I think it's next week. I'll have to get that. We'll have to get the word out.
Perfect. Well, you know what? We'll have to talk to him about this. He mentioned, and I'm not going to mention all of them, 3 players who should stay and 3 players who should go in free agency here. The most prominent person he said should stay, well, none other than Coach Tom Brady. And the reason he said Tom Brady should stay is he said, let's remember everything he's done in New England right now. And this is not saying that Tom should just stay. He understands there's a lot more to this. But he goes on saying, there is question marks as could he have the same success somewhere else. But for Tom, he knows what he has in New England. He knows the system better than anybody else they will bring in. They're ready to win now, but they have to bring these pieces in here. Coach, when you look at this with the New England Patriots, we've talked about it over and over and over again. I understand Tom Brady, he should stay with the Patriots. They should want to bring him back. I just don't think they're going to be able to at this point.
Well, let's just quickly again, we're going to bury this subject pretty soon. We won't bury the Tom Brady, where you're going, story.
Right.
But for New England, the problem that they're facing. And listen, I'm all for New England. I wish that they could get this done and get Brady back and continue to win. Because I like their system. I like the way Belichick handles things. Anyway, for a lot of reasons. But here's the problem. Where do you go? Let's say that you're in the National Football League and you are you really need badly a receiver. Okay? Look at New England last year. So what do? They draft a kid in the first round, which is very unusual for Belichick to draft a receiver there. He has not turned out very well. And I understand he's got some problems, not social problems or anything, just maybe some ability to comprehend what they're doing. Low football IQ, if you will,
right.
Or whatever. Anyway, and then they bring in. He even goes out and brings in Brown, the wild child. Okay, nobody would have suspected that. But it was the only place that Brown could have survived. But he was not smart enough to do that. So he's gone. There's no doubt he's gone. The other veteran receiver that they had in, he's gone. So how did the need for one receiver was replaced by 3 people. And what happened? It's not there. It didn't happen.
Right.
All right, now you need 2. You need a tight end. You need 2 offensive linemen. And your offensive line coach just retired. Best in the business. You tell me how you can go replace that with the lack of ability to procure talent in the National Football League. Can you do it? I don't see any way.
No, I don't either.
I just don't see any way. And Tom Brady's not a fool. He's not an idiot. He and his people, and I'm sure he's got 2 or 3 people he's talking to. They're looking at all this, and they got to be thinking the same way.
Coach, when you look at this situation, I know some people are talking about, listen, if you bring Tom Brady in, no matter if it was Dallas or Tennessee or wherever it may be, you're only going to get 1 to 2 years possibly out of him. Well, here's my thing, Coach. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but if you have a team right now that is built you're on the cusp of winning a championship, and you understand what Tom Brady brings to the table here, you cannot say, well, this guy can give us 6 to 7 years possibly, and this guy can maybe give us 1 to 2. And this is my personal opinion. I've never coached in the NFL, Coach, but just as a fan and understanding how things work, you have to win now if you think you're built to win right now.
You just said the mother lode. There is no doubt that this has to be the approach. And what one guy thinks that way more than anybody else in the league.
It's got to be Jerry Jones. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that when you look at this, it's for people out there saying, well, you're only going to get 1 to 2 years. Well, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm if you're trying to build for the future, Tom Brady is not a rebuild quarterback. He's not going to be there.
Well, do this. Get Tom Brady, win, and at the same time you're doing that, you're going to get 2 years. He can play 2 years. He's already said he's going to play 3.
Right.
So let's say he plays 2. You're going to win if you're in that, if you've got the talent, which there are a couple of teams that do. They're ready to win. And you can go ahead, if you bring Brady in, keep in mind Brady's a free agent. There are going to be 6 quarterbacks in the draft considered first-round draft picks. 5 for sure. Draft one of the young quarterbacks that you like and bring him in and let him sit behind Brady for 2 years. What better way could you prepare for your future with a young quarterback than to bring him in and let him sit behind Brady and win and go to a Super Bowl maybe? Probably. Possibly, probably, but,
yeah,
a high possibility.
Right. No, I agree on that. I think it's awesome.
That would be my course to the future, and for the coaches and their families, and to secure employment for quite a while, because when you win a Super Bowl, you got a little security at least for a couple of years. I'm sure Jerry Jones is thinking about the mortality factor and other things at this point. He, more than anybody else, I think if somebody said, Jerry, if Tom Brady comes here to Dallas, you will win a Super Bowl. It wouldn't be, he'd fire that bullet before you could turn around. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's why I keep them in the ballpark until I hear Jerry Jones, not son, but Jerry, discount totally. Brady's coming there. I'm going to keep him in the ballpark. I think Tennessee is the lead right now in the clubhouse. Don't forget the Colts. The Colts have to be considered. But anyway, it's an interesting situation, and I agree with you. And as I said, you brought out the mother lode right there, and you did. If you've assembled talent enough that you feel you've got a shot at it, it's going to be difficult to keep talent. Okay, so 2 years from now, you may not have the football team capable of doing what you want to do. You better get it done while you got the talent.
Yeah, I think it's when we you talk about baseball signing guys to big deals and things like that. Baseball is different. Even NBA, you get a young guy in there, and you want to sign him to a big deal. Football, things can change in an instant. The one thing we need to remember, it's like we just talked about. If you can win now, because with the market changing, having to pay players, all the things, an injury can turn your whole franchise around. You've got to do what's best, and really, winning a championship, like you said, Coach. It just breeds.
Can't beat it. That's the big.
You may never get another shot.
That's the big kahuna, and you may never get another shot.
I mean, you watch Kansas City this year, and it's been over 50 years. And you see that's real. Ask Detroit Lions fans. They haven't been good in a long time. They would love to have some shred of hope. But listen, Coach, we're up against a break here. When we come back, we're going to hear we talked about a little bit yesterday, what the NFL thinks of some of these first-round possible draft quarterbacks. You're not going to want to miss it. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Geico presents Left Brain versus Right Brain.
After much deliberation, I've decided we should switch to Geico.
Hey, sounds good to me.
We could save hundreds of dollars on our car insurance.
Which, now I'm just blue skying here, we can reinvest those funds into my business idea.
Oh, not this again.
First, get some investors on board, right?
Nobody is going to invest in dental floss made of turkey jerky.
Okay, well, not with that attitude. Wow.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
Every player matters, and finding the right person can make all the difference. For Murray State, that was Jean Morant. In his sophomore season, Morant led the Racers to a 28-5 record and a trip to the NCAA tournament. In the first round, Morant had a triple-double in Murray State's upset win over Marquette. He finished the season as the first NCAA player to average at least 20 points and 10 assists per game in a single season.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Bracket busters, Cinderellas, underdogs on top. With the right talent in the right place at the right time, crazy things can happen. And it's no different for your business. LinkedIn will match the right talent with your open roles fast. Post a job and you'll get great candidates with the right mix of skills, interest, and experience. So every hire you make is a win for your business. Go to linkedin.com/sports and get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. You know, Coach just talking about Tom Brady and what they were going to have to do to bring him back and things like that as well in New England. Well, a report just came in that the Chargers are going to franchise tag Hunter Henry, which is one of the targets that New England was going after at tight end. So that's a big target. Hunter Henry's a great tight end. He would be a great fit in New England, but looks like he's going to stay with the Chargers for another year.
Yeah, that's what we're just talking about. Where do you go get these people? They don't just grow on trees that you can go pick one off, whatever you want. It just doesn't happen that way. So, good point. Good point.
Coach, we talked a little bit about Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa yesterday, of course, Joe Burrow. These are NFL, and some of these guys, I'll start back over with this, are NFL executives for certain teams, coordinators, quarterback coaches, and all sorts of scouts and variety here. We talked about those three guys. I do want to talk about three more guys. These are guys that could possibly go in the first round. It's Jordan Love, Jacob Eason, and Jake Fromm. For Jordan Love, this is an NFC executive, and remember, these are scouts as well. He said he's a really difficult guy to talk about. A year ago, I liked him. Quick release, strong arm, athletic. He's a good kid, made a mistake late in the year. There's not a problem with his character, but there's a lot of little things playing it better at the position. It's decision-making, calls at the line, processing quicker, not forcing the ball. He's doing all these things right now. There's a lot of his game that needs to be cleaned up. He's very talented, but I wouldn't trust him in year one. I wish he went back to develop it because there's no doubt he has talent, but I'm not buying he's a first-round pick. Coach, we've talked about Jordan Love, and this is the kid out of Utah State for you folks that do not know. We've seen him move ahead of Justin Herbert in the draft boards with Todd McShay. Now, this is a guy that, like I said, I watched Jordan Love. My big game going back on tape is watching him against LSU because I know he doesn't have the talent that some of these other quarterbacks played with, but he is being compared to Patrick Mahomes, which can be good or bad because right now there's only one Patrick Mahomes, and we've never seen a guy like that in a very, very long time, if ever. And for Jordan Love, he struggled. He threw, I believe, 3 or 4 interceptions in that game. The pressure got to him. He just panicked. And when you get in the NFL, it's going to be a lot of the same. Things are going to move a lot faster. I'm not saying he can't grow into that because everybody has to. Even guys like Joe Burrow, they have to. But, Coach, when you look at Jordan Love, I agree with him here. This is a guy that if you do take him in the first round, this is a tremendous risk. And if you're betting that he's going to become Patrick Mahomes, you may want to bet elsewhere.
Listen, just based off what you just said and my exposure to him, I have not had but very little exposure to this kid, so it would be very difficult for me to be all that objective with him. But I will tell you this. If I heard one of my scouts read that report on him, I would draft him in the third or fourth round. I mean, when you're talking about little things that basically saying are hidden somewhere that you're not sure about, and then the other things that he has problems with, that to me, when you lump all that together, no, that's not what you want in a quarterback at all. So that's where I would go with Love. But there's some people that God knows. I'll tell you this: this Mahomes syndrome is it's going to end up killing somebody. But
it's dangerous to say the least.
Oh yeah.
And listen, Patrick Mahomes. What he did last year was fantastic. What he's done the past couple of years is fantastic. But you talk about quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks are like Patrick Mahomes? Well, there are none, and there's a reason. What he does, for the most part, is unorthodox. It's stuff we haven't seen yet. And it's like talking about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, it's a great story, and he had some success. But in the end, what Tennessee did, they had the game plan to stop him. You can say, well, he threw for 500 yards. But he threw for interceptions in key moments. They put pressure.
Well, that's what they wanted him to do, is throw for 500 yards. I mean, he's probably not going to do that again. But, yeah, you can shut people down in the night. Listen, if it's a system, I don't care what you do, give these coaches long enough, defensive coaches long enough, and they will come up with a way to if not slow you down, stop you. So just beware of that. Now, on the quarterback situation, this is very interesting. I'm looking forward to what else you're gonna have on the other quarterbacks here, because what I'm hearing, and I'll just preface by saying this, what I'm hearing is there are some people have said 6. But they're including this guy, and I would take him out of the mix. But a lot of people are saying 5. They're 5 eligible first-round quarterbacks.
Coach, I want to talk about some of these other guys. Jacob Eason is a guy I know we've talked about here. You like the arm. Look, this is a guy that transferred out of Georgia with Jake Fromm, of course, staying at Georgia there. This is a kid that went to Washington, and Washington, the Pac-12, it's not as good as the SEC or whatever, but when you look at Jacob Eason, an NFC executive said, love the size, love the arm strength, but the accuracy may be a problem right now. Ball placement and his ability to get away from people is a problem. He makes throws that other guys can't make. A lot of inconsistency, though. He's another guy I'd like to have seen gone back to school. He's a big, strong kid. He has the arm talent, but so does he said, how does Jake Fromm beat him out? That's something that he goes back to when he looks at these guys. He's not as mobile, not as athletic as Herbert, but he has a good arm, and he has some of the strongest pure arm strength in the draft. This is a guy, Coach, and you talk about Jacob Eason. Look, he transferred out of Georgia. We just talked about that. Good kid. Awesome kid. Nobody's questioning anything on that. He has one of the strongest, they've said, the strongest arms in the draft. There's a lot to be said with that. But the inconsistency, he's inaccurate, things like that. Coach, I wonder if maybe he should have gone back one more year, but who knows? He's here now. When you look at a guy like Easton, and I've watched him a little bit, being a Pac-12 fan of Oregon and everything, playing against him as well. Coach, this is a guy I believe that he is immature right now, but you put him on an NFL franchise, if he's behind the right quarterback, he can grow. You get him a good quarterback, Coach. This is a guy that can turn into somebody pretty good.
Yeah. This is one you kind of take a little caution here. Caution is the word with a guy like him. But I love the idea that he checks all the measurable boxes. Strong arm, big, strong kid. I would guess he's probably, I don't think he would have any problems intelligently with anything, but his accuracy, and this is the one thing that I've heard 2 or 3 people say about him, because I checked on him last year when he left Georgia 2 years ago. Went back to Washington and we're checking on him. And he said he could throw the ball through a brick wall, but he and has always been a pampered kid who's been better than everybody else coming up. But sometimes his accuracy was terrible, and he would try to throw the ball, overtrust his arm, try to throw the ball into situations that he shouldn't. Now, that's really going to hurt you in pro football. Sometimes you can get the ball in college, certainly high school and college, because they can't make the read and the adjustment and the move quick enough to get there to break it up or intercept. But in the National Football League, if you think you're going to throw the ball into tight spaces too often, or what you're accustomed to in college, you're going to get a lot of picks. So, but he needs to do what you said. He needs to go to a good football team, if possible, but sit behind a good quarterback. And a good quarterback coach is going to be very important for him. And if he does that, he's still got. See, I think he's got a chance to play and be very good because he's got a lot of the boxes checked.
850-623-1330 is our phone line. Caller, who's this?
Hey, JP. Hey, Coach. How y'all doing today?
Good,
This is
Jonah. How you doing?
Good, Jonah.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I couldn't tell, is this the XFL show? 'Cause I know on Fridays y'all do that, or is it still the Coach K Talk show?
Well, with what's happened with this coronavirus and everything, we just we're not calling it the XFL show now. There's really no reason to talk about what's coming up this weekend for games, our personalities and so on. They're going to call it off for the year. They're calling off. They're not playing anymore this year. I don't know if you missed what I said before, but it was certainly magnanimous on their part to do what they're doing. They had no choice but to call it off. With everybody else calling games off, they had no choice. But then they're going to pay the players the rest of the year.
That makes sense. I just wanted to double check before I wanted to make a point on something. I'm not sure, Coach K, if you remember. I think in about August, I called up before JP got there, and I mentioned that I was touring the University of Georgia Law School.
Yes.
Yeah, so I ended up getting in, and I got a significant amount of scholarships. So I wanted to let you know personally, firsthand, that I will no longer be able to get Coach K show on my local radio because I'm committing to go up to Georgia Law this upcoming fall. But I'm going to try my best to adjust with the time change and try to listen in as much as I can. And when I'm able, I'm hoping it'll be more often than not, but I'm thinking I won't have as much free time as I do now. I'm still wanting to listen to Coach K show and The Drive with JP and Chad Leonte at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Well, I want to let you know that way you weren't thinking that I'm forgetting about you. Come on.
We certainly appreciate you, Jonah, and appreciate what you've contributed to the show, and we hope you can pick up. There are ways that you can pick this up. It's on YouTube, streams on YouTube too, and they
have it on the website.
They do. In fact, I'll tell you here just shortly. JP can tell you how you can hook up with it. And listen. I wish you all. That's great news. That you're going to law school, and I wish you all the very best. And we look forward to getting you back in this area after you graduate.
Oh, I don't know if that'll be the thing. I'm wanting to practice in Atlanta. But I'll always call Pensacola home.
Jonah, I do want to say something. Now that you're going to be over there and you're in the Georgia Law School, we're just going to call you for Georgia football updates. That's your job now. I just didn't know if you agreed to you agreed to that or not. But no, I think it's awesome, man. That's congratulations on that. And listen, anytime you get a chance to call in, I know you're going to be busy with everything going on, but yeah, like Coach K. Man, and I know Chad's not here right now. Of course, he will be later on, but we appreciate everything you do, man. You've been an awesome caller. You're educated, and it's all about the outfits. Remember that.
For sure. And I want to remind you, I'm not dying, so I'm leaving in August, so I'm still going to be here for the summer. But I figured to let you know ahead of time. That way, when I leave, it's on a gradual shift. I don't want Coach K to cry on air. I like the strong, poised guy that I hear on the radio.
Well, you're a good man, Jonah. We will miss you. But seriously, stay in touch. Look at the ways to pick up the streaming on YouTube. You can pick that up anywhere in the country. So,
I for sure will, and I will hold JP to that I am going to call in and make sure that everybody around here knows. While Florida State is down, and Florida is doing whatever Florida is doing, Coach K, I know you went there, I know you played for them, but they're still on their way. Georgia is now the number one team in the SEC. I'm going to go on and say it. This coming up year's the year they beat Saban. I'm also going to get even more cocky. National championship without Jake Fromm. Well, Wake Forest guy. I'm feeling it in my bones now.
Well, you should be. You go to school there. You should be a loyal supporter like that, and I'm sure Georgia's going to be happy to have you there. Listen, we're rated, in the preseason poll ahead of Alabama this year.
Florida is, or
Georgia is? Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia right now is ranked number 2 in the top 25.
You don't know how I feel about preseason polls.
That's the way I feel about a lot of things, hearsay and all that. But well, Jonah, listen, we're up against a break right now, but man, I sure appreciate the call, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
No problem, Coach K. Take it easy, JP. Thanks for all y'all do. Have a good day.
You bet, buddy.
Well, Coach, like we said, we're up against a break right now. When we come back, I do want to finish Jake Fromm, of course, what the NFL thinks about him as well. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Hey, cybercriminals stole the W-2 forms from my friend's company.
Yeah, scammers impersonate CEOs in email and also launch attacks from compromised accounts.
What if they target us?
Don't worry. We have Barracuda Total Email Protection.
So we're secured?
Yes. Barracuda protects businesses of all sizes with artificial intelligence that blocks spear phishing, account takeover attempts, and business email compromise.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL Coach K. Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon. Well, most of the sports may be canceled right now, but we're talking some football with you, as football will be just okay. Listen, Coach, I want to get back to what the NFL thinks about some of these prospects, these quarterback prospects. I want to move on to our last one here, Jake Fromm. I know we only have a couple minutes, but another NFC executive said his combine wasn't very good, but what you get is a great leader. He's got all the characteristics off the field of a great quarterback. He is a great quick decision maker, tough, accurate. He just doesn't have the arm talent yet. He doesn't have the lower body or upper body strength to make all the throws. If you combine Jacob Eason with him, you'd have the number 1 pick overall. He's a really good player. It's just the size and arm talent that holds him back right now. There's a ton to be said for beating out Eason and Justin Fields, even though he's just not on the talent level of those guys yet. But he'd be a great backup for anyone if he wants to. this guy can play in the league for 15 years.
I like what I hear about this kid. I like what I know about him. Listen, he put Eason and Fields on the road at Georgia, and it wasn't close. And what he operated with this last year, after all the attrition Georgia had, lost all the receivers and other important talent that they had on their football team, and what he put up for them this last year was, I think, certainly something to take note of. He's the intangibles with this kid are going to outweigh the measurables, maybe at this point. I'd like to see a little more of his arm. I'd almost have to be in the same arena with him or same place where he's throwing. But he's he's got all the other things you're looking for as a quarterback. He'll end up playing. He will end up playing and playing a lot in the league.
Yeah, when it says he'll play in the league for 15 years, I could see that, absolutely. He's a guy, and look, other executives and scouts have said, if this guy wants to play, he'll play. He will never be outworked.
And more as a back, not only as a backup. I think he'll be, I'm saying on the field as your number one.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, ran out of time. We had plenty to get to today, but nonetheless, it's always been a pleasure. Look, I know, of course, with everything going on right now with the coronavirus, everybody just stay safe, wash your hands, and use common sense. But, Coach, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
You bet. Look forward to tomorrow.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys back here on Monday. Be safe this weekend. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Masters is being postponed, scheduled for the weekend of April 12th. The hope is that the tournament will be played at some point later this year. The NBA will wait at least 30 days before resuming the season. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
What they're telling teams and players now is to stay in your cities. This isn't time to go on vacation and leave, and try to keep the groups of players contained.
Woj on Get Up. NASCAR racing has been canceled for this weekend in Atlanta and for next weekend in Miami. For now, the March 29th Cup race in Texas is still on. IndyCar has canceled the first 4 races of the season. The first race of the year that's still scheduled is at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on May 9th. The Greek Olympic Committee is suspending the rest of the Olympic torch relay in Greece because of unexpectedly large crowds that showed up in spite of a request for spectators to stay away. The flame will be handed over to the Tokyo Organizing Committee as scheduled next Thursday.
Coming up Monday, in light of the coronavirus outbreak, everything in sports continues to move fast and be fluid. Sure, we'll have the latest from all the major leagues, if there's any, but we're also going to try and do something a little different. Monday on Golic and Wingo, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Take your take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News. Also ESPN 2. I'm Jason Fitz. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Penzo Performance Line. You can tweet me. This is what we're asking everybody, to bring a little bit of light, maybe a little bit of escapism with no live sports this weekend. What are you going to rewatch? What's the one sporting event you're going to turn around and rewatch in your weekend so that you get the opportunity to sort of escape from everything? So getting a lot of 49ers versus Saints from the past season, said Steven. Chantel says thankful that they recorded all the games with all Raiders wins. I appreciate that, Chantel. You're playing to your audience on that. Dustin says 2012 Fiesta Bowl. Josh says the Virginia NCAA tournament games from last year. I'll admit, heartstrings pulled here. I got one VCR tape, one VHS tape in my entire house. It says 103-73 UNLV over Duke. I might just go back and watch the run of Rebels beat Duke, get a little college basketball action, just rewatch it over and over and over again. You guys can keep them coming. 888 say ESPN, 888-729-3776. That's how you can tell us. Donnie in Florida, you're going to go back and rewatch one thing for a little escapism. What's it going to be this weekend?
Hey, Jason, how you doing, man?
Great,
and
man.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
calling.
much. Thank you so much for taking my call, man, and keep doing the tremendous job that you do.
Thank you very much. What are you rewatching?
So as I'm still lying here in the fetal position in my man cave, sucking my thumb with my original pair of Depends on due to the cancellation of the NCAA tournaments, I'm going to be rewatching the Kentucky versus Florida game from last Saturday.
Oh, that's a recent one. Okay.
Yes, sir. You know, to see Coach Cal nearly getting ejected and the Wildcats not being able to guard any of the Gators players in the first half to really turning it on in the second. You know, just a great job by John to adjust the coaching scheme along with tremendous play by Nick Richards. And, oh, man, how about that final tip by E.J. Montgomery?
Oh, I love this. See, that's what I'm talking about. You find that one moment, you rewatch it, you relive it, you get a little bit, action here. B-Dub says, with no March Madness this year, I'm going to go back and rewatch the 2012 Final Four. Sometimes I forget how dominant that UK team and AD could be. Love that one. And SkullTube says, I'll be watching week 3 of the 2009 season, Favre to Greg Lewis. Also, as pointed out by True Speaker, there's a live UFC event coming up, so you can catch that Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Dylan in Chicago, you got one thing you're going to rewatch for a little escapism. What's it going to be?
Hey, I think I want to watch the 2016 World Series Championships, specifically Game 7, man. Go Cubbies.
See, I love this call. I don't know, though. You know, I said one event, so I'm limiting it to one game. When you're talking about a championship thing, maybe you just rewatch the whole run. I mean, if you can, in today's YouTube world, if you can find the whole run, by the way, keep ESPN on your TV to keep you updated while you watch YouTube on a side laptop, right? We all know that. But in today's YouTube world, it feels like you can watch the entire run. We're having this conversation because, yet again,